The courtroom is silent as death, but the air is charged with tension. A whisper of betrayal is palpable as Kody looks at each of his wives, realizing that secrets long hidden are set to blow. Tonight, the family will either stay intact or break utterly. Hold on to me, because what comes after will have you wondering about loyalty, love, and the price of truth. The wooden doors of the courtroom open, and the late afternoon sun spills in, casting long shadows upon the floors polished to a mirror finish. Kody enters first, his face a guarded mask of serenity, but his eyes flashing with nervousness. Behind him, Christine, Mary, Janelle, and Robin take their places, each with a burden no one is able to notice. They sit, the silence charged, murmurs of expectation washing like a low wave. Judge Matthews, a no-nonsense woman with intense eyes, clears her throat and the room falls quiet as if in torment. The trial is not about money or custody. It's about betrayal and deceit, and the dissolution of the family the world thought it knew. The first witness rises, an old family friend, one who swears to know the deepest, darkest secrets of their relationships. Christine hunches forward, jaw clenched, every muscle in her frame wound up like a spring ready to release. I've stayed quiet long enough, the witness states, voice shaking. But someone needs to tell the truth about what actually transpired last year. The agreement that no one wanted anyone else to know anything about. Imagine sitting where you are right now, being told something you never expected to hear, and feeling the air in the room shudder with tension. That's precisely what's to come. Janelle clenches hard, her knuckles pale against the armrest. Memories she had struggled to sequester burst to the surface. Robin's eyes shine, her mouth closed tightly, as if speech might erase the pain already in motion. Kody squirms in his seat, attempting to hold on, but the courtroom constricts around him, the burden of decades of buried truths bearing down. The witness starts to tell the story of the night that altered everything. A subdued dinner, an argument in hushed tones, and a secret shared in whispers when everyone else was asleep. Christine's hands shake. Robin chews on her lip, to prevent herself from crying. Kody's eyes move frantically around the room, mentally working out who will be next to betray him. And then, the bombshell proof emerges. Text messages, tapes, and bank statements that imply a betrayal more personal than anyone could have imagined. The air crackles, the kind of tension that causes hearts to beat faster and breaths to catch in throats. The courtroom breaks out in whispers. Judge Matthews bangs her gavel. Order! Order! Her voice rings through the storm building, but it is only for a moment. Every wife glances at the others with distrust, wondering who she can believe, who she can't, and how this discovery will affect her already tenuous family connections. You won't believe. The next surprise, it's the sort that makes even the strongest stand on wobbly ground. Christine stands, voice cold and controlled. We all know why we're here. Let's get the truth out. No more lies, no more secrets. Mary shifts uncomfortably, unsure whether to follow or step back, while Robin clutches her hands together, trying to steady her racing heart. Kody remains silent, the calm eye in the storm, but inside, the guilt and fear churn. The first witness is making another revelation. A recording that may break alliances. Gasps spread through the court. Christine's face grows stern. Robin's eyes broaden. Janelle's hands quiver. And Mary. She's pale as a ghost. The whole room is on the brink of an emotional precipice. Every sentence here counts, because the next scene will alter the course of this family forever. The judge leans forward, voice firm. Next, we'll hear testimony from someone who knows all sides of the story. Someone whose words could change everything. A hush falls again. Kody closes his eyes briefly, steeling himself for what comes next. The camera would linger here, if this were television, capturing every micro-expression, fear, anger, and heartbreak in one frame. And as the doors open once more, admitting the next witness, the tension ratchets up, almost palpably. Everyone is aware the next words that are said could change things irreversibly in terms of relationships, destinies, and the notion of love itself. The witness advances, clearing his throat, and utters one word that leaves all the people in the courtroom gaping, and the entire family knows the walls of trust come crashing down. The doors open again, this time to someone who has spoken very little, but knows all the secret nooks and crannies of the family's secrets. The air in the courtroom is thick, almost choking, as all eyes are on them. Kody fidgets in his seat, every muscle strained, and Christine's keen eyes don't leave the figure standing before them. Robin clenches her hands into fists, knuckles white, and Janelle swallows hard, as if trying to keep herself anchored to a storm already started to howl. The witness takes his time, each word carefully chosen, steeped in tension. "I didn't want it to come out like this," they say, voice quivering but growing firmer with each word. "But what occurred? It can't remain buried anymore." The room goes utterly silent. The distant buzz of the air conditioning and the sound of papers shuffling are all that is heard. And still, the air is charged with suspense. Any revelation of a secret now might completely turn everything around. Guess who holds the next explosive secret? A silence falls as they recount the circumstances surrounding a betrayal no one saw coming. It was a night of hushed discussions, furtive glances, and whispered decisions. The sort of decisions that felt unimportant then, but would spread and shatter trust in ways that nobody could mend. Christine leans in, her gaze narrowing, as the words slice into her like cold knives. Robin's mouth wobbles, suppressing a sob, while Janelle clenches her chest in fear. Even Kody, typically the rock of serenity, gasps sharply, knowing that his efforts to keep the family together are slipping away from him. The witness hands over a batch of documents, moving them across the table to the judge. Every page opens up financial dealings and personal messages that indicate hidden alliances and betrayals no one saw coming. The courtroom erupts with whispers. The air is charged, heavy enough to touch. Mary fidgets in her seat, looking at the other wives, wondering whether she should say something or remain quiet. Her uncertainty is answered by sidelong glances that are both accusation and warning. The dynamics are being realigned live, and every little movement is charged with meaning. Kody's fingers drum against his knee, a twitchy beat he can't suppress. Just when you think you know the story, one shock can upend the whole family. The witness goes on to relate a confrontation that took place behind closed doors. Words exchanged, vows broken, secrets concealed. Christine's voice constricts as she mutters under her breath, "I can't believe this," and Robin's tears finally overflow, streaking silent lines down her face. Janelle clutches the armrest of her seat, knuckles white, and Mary bites back a sob, holding herself together as the burden of truth crushes them all. The courtroom is turned into a stage for emotional explosions. Questions are hurled, voices are raised, and the previously neat room is plunged into a controlled turmoil. Each look that passes has unspoken accusations built into it. Each word is heavy with meaning. Kody tries to break in, but Judge Matthews brings her gavel up, calling for order. Yet even her power cannot suppress the turmoil brewing within the room. The witness gives the last half of his testimony, a bombshell involving not only one individual, but something that might be a network of lies that goes back years. The room is paralyzed, each wife taking the ramifications in her own way: shock, anger, pain, incredulity. Kody reclines back, attempting to take in the magnitude of what was just said. Christine's jaw clenches. Robin dabs her tears and fixes a serious stare on Kody. Janelle's hands shake, and Mary, typically unobtrusive, finally releases her breath in relief and despair. This is the point of no return, where everything will never be the same again. Observe closely, because every response counts. The tension is broken for a moment when the judge orders a recess, but the reprieve is short-lived. In the hallway, rumors are spread like wildfire. Alliances are doubted. Hearts pound, trust is broken. Kody stands quietly in the hallway, looking at the ground, the weight of keeping his family intact more than ever. And just as all the guests are starting to regroup, one of them shows up with a new piece of evidence. A solitary thing that has the potential to turn the entire case around. The wives look at each other suspiciously, the tension now palpable with expectation and fear. As the paper is exchanged, Robin gasps, and Christine's eyes widen in shock, because this isn't merely another secret. It's the one that could destroy everything. The courtroom doors open again, and the next witness mounts the witness stand, a person who exudes a quiet, almost unnerving authority. The room appears to grow smaller, with their presence occupying it. Kody squirms uncomfortably in his seat, a sweat forming at the temple, as Christine slouches forward, every muscle straining, eyes locked like daggers on the witness. Robin's hands are bunched up in her lap, her nails half embedded into her palms. Janelle's lips pucker, repressed words burning on the tip of her tongue. And Mary, typically the quietest of them all, shakes in a gentle tremor, her fingers twisting a handkerchief as she prepares for what is to be revealed. The witness starts slowly, each word carefully chosen, slicing through the hushed air. "I wasn't meant to see it," they state, their voice low and even. "But I did. And now all the things you thought were your private little secrets are about to become public." A gasp ripples through the courtroom. Kody gasps harshly, sensing the walls of control he's erected around his family to crack open. Christine clenches her jaw, and Robin's body heaves with unspoken sentiment. Just when you believe the family has heard it all, a secret is revealed no one could have imagined. The witness describes a night that the wives will never forget: whispered fights in the kitchen, covert telephone calls, and a betrayal that occurred in broad daylight, but was not visible to anyone. Christine's eyes sting, anger bubbling beneath her surface. Robin suppresses a cry by clamping down on her lip. Janelle sits frozen, her hands trembling, while Mary's eyes glisten with a mixture of shock and heartbreak. Kody leans back, feeling the weight of 1,000 unspoken truths pressing down on him. Next come the documents, handwritten memoranda, taped meetings and ledgers, documenting deceptions and alignments that run deeper than anyone had ever dreamed. The wives share suspicious, wary glances. Trust is now a thin thread, and even the slightest thing now means something. The next one is so unexpected that it will make you rethink every relationship in this entire family. The witness's testimony becomes more heated, depicting an altercation between Kody and one of the wives that had never come up for discussion outside their house. Words were exchanged that could not be unsaid, and things were done that could not be reversed. Christine's fists tighten, her knuckles white, as Robin fights to calm her breathing. Janelle bites the inside of her cheek, trying to contain a scream, and Mary's whole body shudders as the emotional impact sinks in. Questions fly. The lawyers press hard, trying to uncover every hidden motive. Emotions run high, voices rise. The courtroom feels electric, charged with tension. Kody attempts to intervene, his voice calm but strained, trying to assert control. But Judge Matthews raises her gavel, demanding order. The gavel bangs, the sound ringing out in the room, but even that cannot quite hold back the hurricane that has broken loose. In this moment, every look, every utterance, every silence counts, because the truth is about to burst out in the most unexpected manner. And then, the most stunned revelation of the testimony: a hidden pact between two of the wives. A plot kept under wraps for months, now laid bare before the whole family. Christine's eyes bulge with incredulity. Her voice breaks as she speaks barely above a whisper. I can't believe this." Robin weeps openly, tears of anger and despair. Janelle's body tenses, paralyzed in shock, and Mary, normally the epitome of calmness, stands here utterly devastated, her face white as the world around her tilts. The courtroom is on edge, all the witnesses waiting with bated breath. Kody's head spins, trying to put together what this bombshell does to the family he's fought so much to maintain. Both wives struggle to deal with the heaviness of the revealed secret, their feelings raw, exposed and explosive. If you believe the family had reached rock bottom, you have no idea what's coming yet. The next instant will redefine everything. Judge Matthews orders a recess, but the tension is palpable, unshakable. Outside, hushed words of the news rip through the room. Partners are questioned, and the tenuous faith that the family had starts dissolving entirely. Kody stands in the hallway, looking down at the floor, the weight of his decisions more than ever. Just as everyone starts to calm down, The door opens, and a lawyer walks in carrying an envelope that says confidential, and he hands it to Judge Matthews. Robin gasps loudly. Christine looks like she's about to jump out of her seat in shock, and the courtroom erupts into shocked silence, because whatever is inside is a secret. Nobody could have predicted. The courtroom is more heavy than ever. The envelope sits on Judge Matthews' desk, its contents unopened, but it pulses with an energy that quiets the whole room. Kody stiffly sits, his fingers against his knees, while Christine is leaning forward, her eyes fixed on the judge, her lips tightened into a line. Robin's hands fidget in her lap, twisting a tissue into knots, and Janelle bites the inside of her cheek, trying to hold back the storm of emotions threatening to spill over. Mary's gaze flickers nervously between the envelope and Kody, her chest rising and falling with shallow, uneven breaths. The judge slowly breaks open the envelope, each action slow and deliberate, such as a ritual meant to prolong the suspense. This document, she starts, her voice firm but weighted, holds information that will alter the trajectory of this trial, and the lives of all of those in this room. The courtroom hushes, broken only by the soft rustle of papers and the occasional deep breath. Hold on tight. What's disclosed here will shake the very foundations of the family. The first page is shown, a chain of text messages, neatly preserved and dated, of two wives conspiring behind the others' backs. The atmosphere in the room becomes heavy, near physical, as the messages are read out aloud. Christine's eyes burn with anger. Robin's lips quiver, as it appears tears may fall. Janelle's fingers clench the edge of her seat, knuckles tight. And Mary, she's gazing like she's seeing a betrayal she never thought possible in her own house. The witness called to testify regarding the documents comes forward. Their tone is firm but has a slight tone of shock. These messages corroborate what has been suspected for months. There are strategic alliances, clandestine meetings, and strategic talks aimed at influencing and controlling family choices. Kody pauses with his eyes shut, for a moment, a deep breath leaving him, aware that no charm and no logic can reverse the harm. The following revelation will have you wondering about loyalty and love in ways you never thought possible. Christine cannot hold back anymore. She stands up, her finger pointed accusatorially, her voice rising in anger and desperation. How long were we all supposed to go on pretending that everything was okay? How long were we supposed to swallow lies? Robin shakes her head, weeping openly, whispering, I didn't know. I never knew it was this deep. Janelle's voice is shaky as she curses under her breath. All this time wasted. Mary's quiet sobs fill the courtroom as the gravity of the betrayal settles in. Kody leans forward, rubbing his temples, trying to find words, trying to reclaim some semblance of control. But the evidence is undeniable. The alliances, the secrets, the betrayals. It's all there in black and white. The witness continues, detailing private conversations that reveal deep-seated resentment and long-held grudges. Each revelation is like a blade, cutting through the fragile facades each wife maintained. The courtroom feels suffocating, the air thick with tension, shame, and heartbreak. Every glance is loaded, every pause pregnant with unsaid accusations. You can feel the tension in the room, because the next confrontation will leave everyone stunned. Then comes the confrontation. Kody stands, his tone low but resolute. We have to talk honestly, all of us here, now. Christine takes a step forward, anger blazing in her eyes. Honesty? Kody? It's not about honesty, it's about dishonesty. And it's been happening right under your nose. Robin's voice trembles, as she begs. We can't just turn our backs on this, we have to confront it. Janelle shakes her head, sobbing. Why does it always happen like this? Why can't we ever just have peace? Mary sits, trembling, torn between fear, duty, and grief. The judge regards her with a keen eye, her gavel at the ready, waiting for the explosion to come in full force. The room is a powder keg of feeling, each word and look ready to set it off. No one here will emerge unaltered. The emotional bombshell is just starting to fall. With the court session almost at its ending, the witness reveals the final, devastating piece of testimony, a tape-recorded discussion that discloses who was behind the greatest betrayal, suspecting more than one individual, and uncovering concealed motives that astound even the most veteran watchers. The wives' response is gut level: gasps, sobs, shaking hands, and face masks of shock. Kody's unflappable demeanor shatters, exposing a man broken by the burden of his family's secrets. The tape plays its final line, and for that instant, the courtroom is in shocked silence. The five wives look at one another, aware that everything they believed they knew about one another, and about Kody, may never be the same again. The courtroom is silent now, but the stillness is thick, almost suffocating. The weight of it all that has come before bears down on all who are within. Kody is stiff, hands clasped tightly, knuckles white, eyes leaping from wife to wife, as if attempting to anticipate which one will strike next. Christine huddles forward a bit, jaw clenched, eyes cutting and unflinching, scanning every face with suspicion. Robin's lips quiver, hands folded anxiously in her lap, fingers writhing in an unsuccessful effort to soothe herself. Janelle sits upright, a contained tempest behind her eyes, while Mary gasps quickly, hands clasped in front of her as though attempting to keep herself intact. The judge, her face impassive, raps the gavel gently. "We will continue," she says, her words slicing through the tension like a cold steel blade. The open envelope from the last session sat on her desk, the incriminating contents having already caused ripples in the room. The attention now focuses on the next witness, a person whose presence holds more than secrets. They bring the truth that can change everything. The witness steps up to the stand, the sound of her shoes clicking ominously through the courtroom. She stops, looking around. Kody breathes slowly, attempting to conceal his nervousness, but his eyes give away the terror brewing just below the surface. Christine's eyes are hard, accusatory, while Robin's hands shake in her lap, her mind reeling with fear at what she is about to hear. Janelle's jaw clenches, and Mary places a hand on her chest, as if preparing herself. The revelations to come will shock even the most die-hard fans. Be ready for a game-changer that turns everything around. The witness begins their testimony. Their voice is steady but carries a weight that commands attention. "What I'm about to say," they begin, "was never meant to be heard outside these walls. But the truth cannot be ignored any longer." A collective shiver runs through the room. Every pair of eyes turns to the witness. Kody shifts uneasily. Christine leans forward. Robin holds her breath. And Janelle and Mary exchange glances that speak volumes. They tell of a night that none of the wives and maybe even Kody will ever be able to forget. It was a night of whispered words, of friendships formed and vows broken behind closed doors. Each detail is meticulously accounted for, each second rendered in a tension that is almost palpable. Christine's hands fist, knuckles white as images rise up that she had long ago buried. Robin's lips quiver, a tear slipping down her cheek despite her desperate attempt to hold it back. Janelle grips her seat tightly, her heart pounding, and Mary's body trembles, a visible manifestation of the shock coursing through her. The witness produces documents, carefully organized, laying them before the judge. Each one confirms suspicions and unveils betrayals that no one in the room could have anticipated. The courtroom is electric with tension, the air charged with anticipation and incredulity. Kody slumps back, attempting to keep his cool, but the proof is irrefutable. Each glance that passes between the wives now holds unspoken recriminations. Trust, already tenuous, starts to dissolve utterly. You won't believe who gets drawn in next. The plot twists here are by no means finished. As the witness goes on, the tale gets richer. They tell of clandestine talk behind the closed doors, talk soaked in manipulation, lies and tactics. Every phrase appears to fall like a sledgehammer, reducing years of presumed love and loyalty to dust. Christine's eyes blaze with anger. Robin holds her hand over her mouth, struggling not to yell. Janelle's frame tenses, the news slicing through her like a knife. And Mary, normally reserved and subdued, now appears on the brink of breakdown, shaking as the enormity of the betrayal washes over her. Questions swirl from the lawyers, probing and relentless. Every response unfolds further layers of duplicity. The courtroom is charged with electricity, each subtle move exaggerated by tension. Kody tries to intervene, to shift the direction of the story, but the gavel comes down, insisting on order. Even the judge, with all her experience, appears to be keenly aware that this is not just a trial. It is an emotional war zone. The next item of evidence will leave you gasping. It's the type that turns everything you believed you knew upside down. The witness produces a tape, played for the whole court to listen to. The voices on the tape are unmistakable, with confessions and accusations that leave everyone stunned. Christine's face clenches, her eyes squinting in incredulity. Robin hides her face in her hands, shuddering sobs racking her frame. Janelle sits back, speechless and stunned, as Mary grips her chair, her entire frame shaking. Kody listens, his impassivity disintegrating, as the words cut through the defensive barrier he has attempted to construct. The tape reveals a conspiracy between two of the wives that has been concealed for months. Secrets long buried now come to light, putting the family's precarious balance on the brink of destruction. Every look, every movement in the room is now filled with suspicion and dread. Christine spins violently toward Kody, her voice hissed low and deadly. "How did you let this occur on your doorstep?" Robin glances from wife to wife, her voice breaking as she murmurs, "Why didn't anyone say anything to me?" Janelle shudders, crying, repeating, "All this time we were blind." And Mary, shaking, speaks a word that hangs in the air like a prayer. "Why? The pressure is too much, and the next battle will drive the family to the edge." Kody stands, trying to speak, to regain some authority over the disorder. "We need to talk about this," he says, his words firm but strained. Christine cuts in, moving forward, hurt and rage emanating from every pore. "Undefined. Deal with it. Undefined. There is nothing to deal with. Divide. The fact is here, and it's not only words. It's evidence of betrayal. Undefined." Robin holds back tears, shaking voice, "We can't pretend this didn't occur. We have to face it, or we'll never be whole." Janelle's voice breaks, and she whispers to no one in particular, "How did it get this far without anyone noticing?" Undefined. Mary's sobs grow louder, the sound piercing the tense silence like a knife. The courtroom is charged with emotion, every second heavy with the weight of revelations. Kody's mind races, trying to strategize, to salvage the family, but he knows some damage cannot be undone. Christine's fury is palpable. Robin's sorrow is tangible. Janelle's heartbreak is visible, and Mary's despair is almost suffocating. The witness's testimony has turned what was already a tense trial into a stage for raw, unfiltered human emotion. Hold on to your seats. What comes next will change the family's life forever, and you'll never see it coming. The witness now delivers the last explosive piece of evidence, a secret document containing financial decisions and personal messages that implicate more than one family member. The courtroom is an instant reaction. Gasps, whispers, and tears fill the air. Christine's eyes grow wide with shock, her voice protesting in rage. "I can't believe this. All these lies, all these betrayals." Robin's hands clasp her face as sobs break through, while Janelle sways in her chair, reeling under the enormity of truth. Mary speaks nothing, but her tears flow unrestrained, her body shaking as the reality sets in. Kody tilts forward, a man torn between desperation and incredulity, aware that the walls of trust surrounding him have fallen. The judge demands a brief recess, but the harm is done. Discussion in the hall starts immediately, every hushed speculation and slur adding to the tension. Kody remains silently in the corridor, his eyes fixed on the floor, replaying every choice he has made, and how it led them to this point. Christine paces, the anger in her strides reflected in all her movements. Robin grasps her chest, attempting to slow her pounding heart. Janelle sits in mute shock, going over each surprise in her head, and Mary sits, attempting to compose herself, although the tears continue to flow. The stakes are higher than ever before, and the family's future dangles by a thread. What comes next will keep you in suspense. When court reconvenes, the witness makes one final revelation, a confession from someone long believed to be faithful. The words, spoken low but heavy with truth, create shock waves throughout the room. Kody's face crumbles. Christine gasps, outrage crashing over her in waves of doubt. Robin's shoulders heave with tears. Janelle's eyes go wide with horror. And Mary, white and shuddering, whispers a single word. Impossible. The courtroom is a whirlpool of emotion, the sort that feels almost too overwhelming to withstand. All eyes now hold suspicion. Every utterance is parsed, guarded, because the fallout of even the most innocuous word might be devastating. The wives look at each other, measuring trust against betrayal, loyalty against survival. Kody is trying to keep the pieces together, but he knows the family will never be the same. The last twist in this session is about to come, and it's one that this family will never forget. As the witness departs, Judge Matthews speaks out. The evidence has been presented. The testimonies have been heard. The following step will tell if this family is going to be okay, or if even that is possible. The significance of her statement lingers in the room, thick and oppressive. Christine's eyes flash at Kody. Robin looks at the others, her cheeks wet with tears. Janelle grips her hands tightly, keeping herself together by sheer will. And Mary, shaking still, finally glances down at the floor, unable to hold anyone's eye. Just as the session is ending, Kody is handed a note slipped onto his desk. He opens it slowly, and his face whitens. Christine sees right away, her eyes narrowing. Robin leans forward, holding her breath. Janelle's mouth opens in shock. Mary freezes solid, as the contents of that piece of paper guarantee a revelation that will take everything back again. All wives forced to face the greatest betrayal. The courtroom is charged, near unbearable, as Kody sits stiff, the paper still in his hand. Its message has the potential to turn everything that has been revealed so far upside down. Christine leans forward, eyes narrowed, her jaw clenched in anticipation, and barely repressed anger. Robin's hands are shaking, and she dabs at her tears, as if attempting to rub them away, and erase the tempest of feeling brewing within her. Janelle sits stiffly, a coiled spring of restrained energy, and Mary rocks gently in her chair, unable to look anywhere else but the floor. Judge Matthews clears her throat, the sound cutting through the thick silence. "We will move on with the new evidence," she states, her tone stern, demanding attention. The courtroom seems to have closed in, walls bearing down with the weight of all that will soon be uncovered. Kody reads the note slowly, his eyes sweeping over the lines that will irreparably alter the course of the trial and his family's life. What he's about to learn will astonish not only the family, but all of us witnessing this. Prepare yourself. The note reveals one chilling bit of information, a secret exchange between two of the wives, talking about a plot they had concealed from the rest of the clan. Christine gasps loudly, the noise snappy and indignant. Robin is motionless mid-drawn breath, fingers gripping the armrest of her seat. Janelle's eyes open wide in shocked disbelief, and Mary exhales shakily, the air seeming too dense to inhale. A lump forms in the throat of Kody, the force of betrayal, constricting him like a material pressure. The judge gestures for the witness to authenticate the note. They step forward, their face inscrutable, and affirm that the note is real. Each whisper in the courtroom becomes magnified, the anticipation building to a nearly palpable level. Christine's lips compress into a tight line. Robin swallows. Janelle trembles, and Mary puts her hands up over her face, her body shaking with the news. Alliances in this family are dissolving before your eyes. Someone to trust now. Kody stands up, attempting to speak to the court, but his voice cracks. We need to discuss this as a family," he says, struggling to sound commanding. Christine cuts in harshly, standing her fury at last breaking out. "Talk? Kody, it's too late to talk. It's all out in the open now." Robin's voice breaks as she begs. "We have to face this now, or it will kill us all together." Janelle clutches the arms of her chair, shaking, while Mary finally lifts her head, eyes staring in a mixture of fear and horror, whispering, "How could this happen?" The witness goes on, unveiling a chain of messages, chats and clandestine appointments that reveal secret information and betrayals. With each new discovery, it hits hard, slamming into the tenuous relationships between relatives. Christine's fists grip at her sides. Robin's shoulders shudder in tears. Janelle's mouth opens in shock, and Mary sways slightly, her breathing ragged. Cody's efforts to keep calm disintegrate, the reality smacking him in the face. It won't be believed. Who is next implicated? The twists continue, and they bite deeper than ever before. The courtroom erupts as the witness reads from a recording, heretofore undisclosed, that catches an argument between Kody and one of the wives. The voices are recognizable, raw with emotion, tension, and accusation. Christine winces as she hears, her thoughts repeating the words, her hurt and anger festering. Robin covers her eyes, trying to stifle tears. Janelle's fingers tighten around her knees, white-knuckled, as though attempting to anchor herself to reality. Mary shivers all over, and Kody leans forward, breathing shakily, aware that there's nothing that can reverse the harm done. The tape reveals a covert partnership, a betrayal some months in the planning. Each wife responds in her own way. Christine in anger, Robin in grief, Janelle in astonishment, Mary in terror. Kody senses the walls of domination encircling him coming tumbling down, the deception he held together for so long now reduced to shreds. The courtroom is still, but tension hangs in the air so dense it could practically be touched. Hold your breath, because the next bombshell will send everything you believed you knew spinning. Another witness is summoned, one who has earlier played a silent role, but is privy to the reality of the family situation. Her testimony provides context to the note and tape, uncovering not only betrayal, but intent, manipulation, and strategy. The anger of Christine is sharpened. That of Robin becomes more deepened grief. That of Janelle furthered shock. And that of Mary becomes worse trembling. Kody fights to keep his cool, as he realizes that every word uttered here can irrevocably harm the family. The witness recounts the emotional cost of the betrayals, the sleepless nights, hushed arguments, clandestine meetings, and manipulations of the emotions that have differently impacted each wife. Christine's hands shake as she balls them in her lap. Robin's tears flow freely now, quiet and unstoppable. Janelle sways in her relief, still trying to keep up with the barrage of information, as Mary wraps her arms around herself tightly, trying to protect herself from the psychological shock. Every piece of information counts here. The slightest relief could trigger the next emotional blast. The witness then brings relief that no one anticipated. A stack of financial records detailing money transfers, joint bank accounts, and undercover expenses that indicate not only emotional infidelity, but also deliberate manipulation. The courtroom reacts instantly. Gasps echo through the room. Christine's eyes widen, her voice sharp. All of this in secret? Robin can barely speak, whispering, "Why? Why would anyone do this?" Janelle's body stiffens, frozen in disbelief, and Mary's entire frame shakes as the enormity of the betrayal hits. Kody leans back, the weight of guilt and helplessness settling over him like a heavy blanket. The suspense is almost intolerable, as the witness takes the court through the links, the alliances, the ulterior motives and manipulations that have been revealed. Christine's outrage is now compounded by sorrow. Robin's weeping deepens. Janelle remains stone still, stunned by what she has heard. Mary closes her eyes, praying she could flee the tempest of reality. Kody, the man who had attempted to keep everyone together, feels helpless now as the repercussions of keeping secrets come tumbling down. You won't believe the ensuing confrontation. It's raw, emotional, and will leave you with your mouth hanging open. Kody finally gets up, trying to speak to the room. "We must face this, us all together," he says, strained but sincere. Christine snaps, interrupting him, anger boiling over. "Face this, Kody, it's too late for that. The truth is out. The trust is gone." Robin's voice cracks as she pleads. "We have to face this, or it will destroy everything." Janelle's lips tremble as she mutters, "How could it go this far?" Mary's whispered, "Why?" echoes painfully in the room, a question that no one yet has an answer for. The witness finishes with the final piece of evidence, a confession from a previously seeming loyal person, revealing even more sinister levels of betrayal. The courtroom responds immediately. Christine gasps, Robin weeps openly, Janelle stands in shock, and Mary buries her face in her hands, shaking, Kody sits forward, speechless, bracing for the force of the truth falling. Everything you thought you knew about this family is going to be blown apart. Stay close for the shocking revelation. Judge Matthews orders a short recess, but the tension hangs in the air like a heavy mist. Outside the courtroom, rumors of what has been heard are carried quickly on the winds. Kody keeps silent, his eyes fixed on the ground, struggling with the choices that led them here. Christine is pacing, her eyes burning. Robin clenches her jaw to keep her composure. Janelle sits in stunned silence, reliving the events in her head. Mary sits frozen, sobbing, unable to grasp how trust could be so utterly shattered. When the court meets again, there's a last, shocking turn. A taped confession from someone long trusted as an ally, divulging a secret even Kody hadn't seen coming. The wives all respond in the moment. Christine's rage is tinged with shock. Robin's grief overpowers her, Janelle's incredulity is written across her face, and Mary shakes uncontrollably. Kody makes his final move, recognizing that no matter how hard he tries to hold together the family, it cannot reverse what has already been put into motion. The tape ends, and the courtroom is silent with shock. Each wife shares a look, unspoken words but resounding in their minds. Who is trustworthy? What can be forgiven? Most importantly, is the family even salvageable after all that's been exposed? The courtroom is electric with tension, which seems on the verge of suffocation, each heartbeat reverberating through the marble floors. Kody sits erect, the weight of the disclosures of the previous sessions weighing on him like a tangible pressure. His hands are folded together on his lap, fingers crossed, knuckles locked. Christine leans forward, eyes blazing, jaw set, as if each phrase she's about to utter could slice through steel. Robin sits quietly, tears threatening to spill, her hands twisting in her lap, while Janelle rocks slightly, trying to steady herself amid the storm. Mary's chest rises and falls unevenly, her gaze locked on the floor, every muscle taut with anxiety. Judge Matthews clears her throat, the gavel slamming the desk hard. "We will continue," she declares, her voice dictating the room to attention. The air is taut, as if anticipation is clinging heavy to it. Kody breathes slowly, attempting to calm himself, though he knows that nothing can prepare him for what's next to come. Brace yourself, the next twist will leave even the strongest viewer with bated breath. The next witness approaches the stand, their presence quiet but commanding. Every eye in the courtroom follows their steps, each movement deliberate, measured. They pause before speaking, scanning the room, their gaze lingering on Kody, and then on each wife. "What I'm about to say," the witness begins, voice calm but weighted, "was never meant to be revealed publicly. But the truth can no longer be concealed." The courtroom is motionless, a shared sigh filling the air. The witness describes a series of secret gatherings and hushed conversations that had been hidden from the family for months. Every disclosure is rich in emotional nuance. Alliances forged in the dark, vows given and betrayed, manipulations that pierce to deeper places than anyone might have imagined. Christine's eyes narrow, her face a mask of fury and hurt. Robin presses her lips together, fighting back tears. Janelle's hands tremble, gripping the armrests of her chair, while Mary's shoulders shake as she tries to contain the storm of emotion inside her. Kody sits back, swallowing hard, the full weight of the testimony coming crashing down on him. "You'll be sitting on the edge of your seat, because nothing is ever as it seems, and the next revelation will hit you flat out." The witness introduces documents, neatly arranged, establishing clandestine financial deals and clandestine conversations that reveal the extent of the betrayal. Each new item of evidence falls like a hammer blow in the room. Christine's fists are clenched, white-knuckled, as she tries to grapple with the piling evidence. Robin's hands shake, and now her tears flow freely. Janelle's mouth is agape in shock, and Mary sways slightly, her body shaking, her mind reeling from the gravity of the news. Kody's mask cracks, knowing that no words can mend the cracks now exposed. The witness goes on, discussing secret conversations and emotional manipulations among family members. Every word appears to cut through the shallow layer of confidence the family had held for so long. Christine sits upright slightly, anger simmering just beneath the surface. Robin presses her hands against her face, trying to insulate herself from the emotional blow. Janelle leans forward, lips parted, shock radiating from every plane of her body. And Mary, normally stoic, trembles visibly, powerless to suppress the sadness and shock running through her. Each secret revealed now alters everything. Who will emerge unharmed? Kody eventually stands, his voice low and controlled, attempting to recover some semblance of control. We have to deal with this collectively. All of us. Now, Christine bursts out, advancing her words slicing like glass. Deal with it, Kody, it's too late. The truth is out, and there's nothing that can mend what's been torn. Robin's voice breaks as she begs. We must confront this, or it will ruin everything. Janelle bites her lip, gasping. How did it go so far and nobody notice? Mary finally glances up, wide-eyed whispering, why? The witness then presents a previously unheard tape, which is played for the entire room. The voices are unmistakable, raw with anger, sorrow and accusation. Christine flinches, gripping the edge of the seat, as the words hit her like knives. Robin presses her palms to her cheeks, trying to stifle her sobs. Janelle's eyes widen, frozen in shock, and Mary's body trembles, shaking as the recording confirms yet another betrayal. Kody takes a deep breath, dreading that each layer of dishonesty is now entirely revealed. The family's trust hangs by a thread, and the next shock will push it to its breaking point. The tape serves up a secret alliance, a manipulative betrayal planned with precision, revealing motives that astonish even the most veteran observers. Christine spins sharply to face Kody, anger blazing in her eyes. How could you let this occur under your own roof? Robin glances over the wives, streaming with tears, whispering, why didn't anyone say anything? Janelle shakes her head, said nothing, and stared in shock, while Mary whispered, all this, for what? Kody leans forward, fighting to hold it together, as walls he constructed around the family disintegrate utterly. The judge asks for calm, but tension hangs in the air. The witness then presents that confession from one of the people previously believed to have been loyal, revealing more layers of betrayal. The courtroom is shocked into silence. Christine's face reddens with rage and incredulity. Robin's body trembles with sorrow. Janelle's hands clench her knees in a death grip, white-knuckled, as she tries to comprehend what she is hearing. Mary weeps openly, her entire body shaking as the emotional burden nears breaking her. Kody sits back, quiet, and understands that even his meticulous planning and efforts to stage manage the headlines cannot reverse what has been uncovered. The emotional stakes have never been higher. The next revelation will reconfigure everything. The witness produces one last piece of evidence, a letter attesting to long-term planning and secret communication between two family members, laying bare the extent of secrecy and deception. The courtroom gasps. Christine's eyes open, her mouth parting in shock. Robin silently weeps, her hands trembling. Janelle sways, not fully taking in the information. Mary hides behind her hands, attempting to hide from the emotional blow. Kody's face crumples, and he slumps forward, hands on the desk, bearing the burden of every decision, every secret act, coming crashing down on him. Every step now counts, because the next showdown will determine the future of the family. Kody stands up once more, attempting to regain mastery over the turmoil. We need to discuss this out in the open. Now, Christine cuts in, tone hard and furious. Discuss? It's too late, Kody. There's nothing left to say that can undo this. Robin's voice trembles as she says, we have to face it, or it will destroy us completely. Janelle whispers, shaking her head, how did it go this far? Undefined. Mary's whispered, why undefined? Resonates painfully through the room, unanswered but loud in meaning. The witness finishes with an abrupt dynamite revelation, a confession that involves more than one member in a betrayal that will radically alter the family landscape. Undefined. The courtroom responds in unison. Mutable gasps, tears, and shaking hands abound. Obsolete. Christine's ire clashes with incredulity. Obsolete. Robin's grief engulfs here. Obsolete. Janelle is paralyzed, unable to process the emotional baggage. Obsolete. Mary shakes violently, clutching herself together by sheer willpower. Kody slumps forward, quiet, understanding that the family's roots have been irreparably shaken. The judge orders the court to recess. Undefined. As all rise, Kody is handed a sealed envelope by an attorney. Undefined. He opens it cautiously, his face going white. Undefined. Christine immediately picks up on it, her eyes narrowing. Undefined. Robin slumps forward, breath caught. Undefined. Janelle opens her lips in shock. Undefined. Mary comes to a total standstill. The letter inside the envelope threatens a disclosure that might undo it all once more, compelling each wife to face the worst kind of betrayal, and leaving the courtroom on the brink of complete chaos. The courtroom is charged with a suspense so heavy it is almost tangible. Each chair groans under anticipation. Kody sits motionless, the envelope from the previous session still sitting in front of him, unopened, but exuding a tense sense of foreboding that cannot be ignored. Christine hovers forward, with lips clenched, eyes trained on him like an approaching hawk. Robin has her hands folded tightly together, knuckles white, her whole body shaking in anticipation of what will happen next. Janelle sways in her chair, attempting to calm herself down, but her lips tremble with fear and frustration. Mary sits in stillness, her eyes on the floor, her chest rising and falling unsteadily, every muscle tense with tension, preparing for the emotional storm about to unleash. The judge's throat clearing echoes through the room, sharp as a knife. "We will continue," she states firmly, her voice commanding through the strained quiet of the courtroom. The room answers with a subdued, tense compliance, but the atmosphere is charged with tension, heavy with the undercurrents of secrets, betrayals, and emotions pent up for months. Kody slowly breathes out, attempting to stabilize himself, but he knows that there is no way to prepare him for the contents of the envelope. The room appears to close in, the gleaming walls pressing outward, reflecting the pressure that has been building throughout the trial. Hold on to your seat. What's in this envelope will leave everyone in the room, and TV watchers at home, speechless. Kody slowly opens the envelope with shaking hands. Inside is a collection of paperwork and a taped message, previously hidden, that reveals the final betrayal, a clandestine decision taken without family input, one that affects the lives, the trust, and the very nature of each wife. Christine is aghast, her face reddening, eyes wide with outrage and astonishment. Robin's hands cover her mouth, stifling sobs that seek to erupt. Janelle leans forward, her eyes narrowing, a mix of disbelief and anger coursing through her. Mary's body shudders, and she presses her face into her hands, unable to fully process what she's seeing. Kody sits back, the gravity of the revelation pressing on him like a physical weight. The judge motions for the witness to verify the authenticity of the documents. A silent, apprehensive figure emerges, its very presence demanding notice. "These papers and the tape are real," the witness assures, voice firm but charged with the gravity of the truth. "They validate actions and choices taken in secret, without the permission or knowledge of the other family members, and they expose a depth of dishonesty that affects each relationship here." The courtroom is still, save for the soft sound of papers shuffling, but tension permeates it, nearly suffocating. The truth regarding loyalty, trust, and betrayal will explode this family once and for all. Can you sense the enormity of it? Christine leaps up from her chair, anger emanating from every cell in her body. "How did this occur? In your home, Kody? All of this time, we were oblivious. How could you allow it to go this far?" Robin's voice breaks as she speaks softly. "I trusted everyone. I never imagined it would be like this." Janelle's hands clench the armrests fiercely, knuckles pale, and her voice shakes. "The whole time, the deceptions were going on behind our backs." Mary raises her head, white-faced and shaking, whispering, "Why? Why would anyone do this?" Kody leans forward, breathing shakily, knowing there are no simple answers, no quick solution to the destruction that now engulfs him. The witness plays the recorded message. The voices on the tape are unmistakable. Accusations, confessions, and hidden motives laid bare for everyone to hear. Christine flinches with every word. Robin covers her face, sobbing quietly. Janelle's eyes widen in horror, and Mary's trembling intensifies. Cody's face goes white as he comprehends the depth of the betrayal and understands that all efforts to control and manage harmony in the family have been unsuccessful. All you believed about this family is coming undone. Watch closely as chaos erupts. The recording reveals not just deceit, but long-term plotting, coalitions, and emotional manipulation. Each of the wives responds differently. Christine in anger so hot it cuts like glass. Robin in sorrow so profound, it seems to tug at the very air around her. Janelle stunned into immobility, and Mary shaking uncontrollably, racked by fear and grief. Kody sits in stunned silence, burdened by his position, as the family's rock now completely overwhelming. The courtroom is strained to the breaking point, even the smallest movement magnified by the magnitude of what is at stake. The witness next unveils financial records, secret accounts, transfers, and hidden spending. The proof substantiates not only betrayals of emotion, but planned, extended manipulations that rock the family's faith to its foundation. Christine's voice is raised in outrage and incredulity. All this secretly, all this manipulation. Robin's tears now flow freely, her hands trembling as she attempts to absorb the scope of the deceit. Janelle's mouth falls open in a silent gasp, her whole body rigid, as Mary shakes, whispering once more, "I can't believe it." Kody breathes out, eyes wide, the crushing weight of guilt and powerlessness, bearing down with each thud of his heart. The next showdown will leave everyone speechless. The tension is building to its absolute limit. Kody finally stands, attempting to restore order. "We have to face this together," he says, voice low and strained. Christine interrupts sharply, her fury breaking free. "Together? It's too late, Kody. The truth is out. The trust is gone." Robin pleads, voice quivering, "We have to talk about this, or it will destroy us completely." Janelle whispers, trembling, "How could it go this far?" Mary's soft, "Why?" echoes painfully, unanswered, but echoing the collective heartbreak. The witness approaches one final time, holding out the final, shocking piece of evidence, a confession by someone who had been presumed to be loyal, stating that the ultimate betrayal had been engineered deliberately, and not only emotional connections, but the very fabric of the family had been disrupted. Gasps echo through the courtroom. Christine's eyes go wide, her mouth open in outrage and shock. Robin cries unashamedly, her hands clutched at her chest. Janelle sways slightly in her chair, still reeling from the weight of the truth. Mary is covering her face, shaking hard, her whole body racked with pain. Kody bows forward, said nothing, taking in the irreparable destruction that is around him. All the secrets, all the betrayals, all the lies now crash, and the family could never be the same again. The judge stands, her gavel raised. The evidence is in. The testimonies have been heard. The family has to face the consequences of their actions and decisions. The air is heavy with the impact of her words, a storm cloud looming large, heavy and unending. Christine faces Kody, her eyes blazing with anger and pain. Robin glances at the other wives, grief and incredulity scrawled across her features. Janelle grips her hands hard, shaking, and Mary sits in stunned ruin, tears flowing down her face. Kody sits too numb, the responsibility weighing upon him in ways he can't explain. The courtroom is a theater of raw emotion. Christine takes a step forward, voice hard and unyielding. "You promised us honesty, Kody. All these years we had faith in you to lead us, to keep us safe. And this is how we are repaid. Lies, deception, betrayal." Robin joins in, tears streaming down her face. "We must talk honestly, or nothing will ever change." Janelle shakes her head, muttering under her breath, "All this time we were safe." Mary's whisper, a mere breath, pierces the room. "Why did it have to be like this?" Kody speaks last, his tone quiet but firm. "I never meant for any of this to occur. I made every effort to keep the family intact. But I realize now that my actions, or lack thereof, permitted these lies to grow. I am really sorry." His words linger, weighed down by guilt. Christine scowls. Robin cries. Janelle tenses, and Mary appears ready to collapse at any second. The pressure of truth is crushing, but it cannot be denied. The emotional impact is reaching its climax. Every audience member will feel tension, heartache, and shock. The wives start talking by turns. Christine's voice is hard, accusatory, but with a tinge of sadness. Robin's voice breaks, exposing a need for forgiveness and reconciliation. Janelle is guarded, words carefully selected as emotion by turns, gets ready to consume her. Mary, at last, lifts her head, saying softly, each word carrying pain, "We can't undo the past, but we have to decide what we do next." The courtroom holds its collective breath, in stunned quiet as Kody solemnly nods. It's obvious, trust has been broken, hearts were shattered, and the future of the family hangs in the balance. The response of each wife captures the extent of betrayal, the complexity of feelings, and the seismic effect of the revelations. The room is suspended in time, each second drawn out by tension and raw emotion. The fate of the family hangs in the balance. What would you do if trust was broken this entirely? Judge Matthews requests one last statement. Kody stands, voice firm. "I take responsibility. I can't do anything about the past, but I'll try with all my might to rebuild what we lost, if that is even possible." Christine's eyes are sparkling with tears and rage. Robin extends a shaking hand. Janelle closes her eyes, and Mary wipes her cheeks, finally glancing at Kody. The room feels heavy with unspoken questions, choices yet to be made, and emotions that will take a lifetime to process. The courtroom slowly drains, but the tension remains like an overshadowing shadow. Outside, hushed words resound. Alliances are re-evaluated, and hearts still hurt. Kody walks silently, lost in thought, as the wives trail behind in differing states of sorrow, anger, and deliberation. The trial is over, but the emotional journey is only just beginning. After all that was uncovered, what would you do? Would this family ever be able to heal completely? Comment below with your opinion. You know better than anyone. The sun is setting outside the courthouse, painting the walls with long shadows. Within, the memories of betrayal, heartbreak, and broken trust linger on. The family has endured their worst test, uncovered truths that no one could have imagined. The decisions they make from this moment on will shape not just their relationships but the essence of their lives together. Every look, every sentence, every pause is significant now, constructing a future based on the feeble threads of honesty and reconciliation. And as the last gavel crashes, the memory screen persists. The wives proceed in tandem, but separated, Kody trailing behind, all of them irrevocably altered. The trial is done, yet the journey, the emotional, the roiling, the irrevocable journey, has just started. Hearts are tender, trust is tentative, and the fragile bonds that hold will either hold fast in reality, or shatter further under the pressure of past betrayal. The last frame stays on Kody's face, a broken, regretful, and burdened man with the weight of his failure, and the vulnerability of his family. The wives' faces pass before the camera. Christine, Robin, Janelle, Mary, each with a tempest of betrayal, sorrow, and the most minute glimmer of hope. The family will never be the same, and the decisions they make now will decide their destiny. What would you do if you were in that position? Undefined. Tell us in the comments below. Your voice matters.